Well, on the security focused Christmas season editions, we've been talking about security during this Ember Yuletide month. And today we'll be talking about why there's a high rate of crime or why there's a high increase of crime in the society during this Yuletide period. Is it the society encouraging it, or is it just because people don't know the significance of Christmas? Join us as we talk with our guest in the studio, and I promise you it's going to be interesting. Good afternoon to you. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. It's 4, 5, 6 more days to Christmas. Christmas is actually on Tuesday. And all of us are aware that during this period, security has to be at its utmost best. My name is Ifunaya Amafili, and the program is Security Focus. We have the pleasure of having with us on the studio Mr. Iboeli, I got it now. Iboeli Arinze. He's a social activist, he's a newspaper columnist, he's also a blogger, and of course, he's not a security expert, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to him. So we try and bring security to you and me, to our doorsteps. So many thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
When you say you're a blogger, what does that mean?
A blogger is someone who uses a blog.
Everybody knows, but what kind of information do you carry out on your blog?
Definitely political, economic, societal, feature write-ups.
Okay, great. Yes. So we can talk to you about security.
Sure, why not?
We were both aware that every time, not necessarily this year, and not necessarily restricted to Anambra State, Nigeria, the whole world over, but limited coming back home. During the festive period, Christmas period, New Year period, there's always an increase in crime, armed robbery increases, kidnapping increases. Of course, the most popular one is the Yahoo boys. They're all coming back. If they're not yet back already, in the Mali and Atagono, everybody's coming back this period.
Sure.
Why do you think there's this mad craze and an increase in crime during this period? Let's start with that.
Well, first things first, you have to look at the dynamics of the situation.
Okay.
It's Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's a season of merriment. It's a season of enjoyment. And, you have a society that is daily becoming materialistic, crassly. And so everybody wants to feel among. Everybody wants to...
Do you think it's a societal thing? Because you said that you have a society that is gradually materialistic.
Yes.
Do you think it's society itself that is encouraging this...
Yes, it's society.
Rise in crime?
It's society. Because even in the church, you have a man who doesn't have an income, who doesn't have a questionable means of income, a variable means of income, and tomorrow he's dedicating a church, he's dedicating his house, and you see the clergymen come there, and they say, wherever this came from, may it find you, someone I'm saying, instead of people to ask questions. So you find out that society basically encourages such. Now we are in a society where it's not about how many degrees you have. It's not about, how many years of experience you have. It's not about how much you have. Ego nekij is what, and your hair is what, presents, gives people, particularly in this aspect of our life in Igbo land. It's that bad. Yes. It's that bad. So society encourages such things. You see people wanting to do things out of question because they want to belong.
Yeah, I like the fact that you brought the church inside. Yes. So let's start with that. Yes. Because I believe religion is the opium of the masses, but that's my own personal belief. But, everybody is religious, quote and unquote.
Yes.
And then we look at the church as an institution for morality.
Yes.
And you have rightly pointed out, they don't ask questions.
They don't.
I think the church, I'm not calling any particular church, it's not the Catholic Church or
general.
the Pentecostal Church or the Anglican Church.
General.
The church has a body.
Yes.
It's not really asking questions. How do you think the church came from being that? I remember when I was much younger, right? Yeah. Anybody that's onyunka, anybody that's a church person, was seen as someone who was quote and unquote poor, who was pious, a church rat. Yeah. That's where the phrase came from, a church rat.
Yes.
But now it's the rich people that are actually in church. It's them doing the donations and opening houses and launching, and like you said, the clergy. Yeah. How did the church get to this point
I think it has to do with this craze for prosperity.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, don't get me wrong. I'm not against prosperity preaching. Mm-hmm. Every Christian ought to prosper. Mm-hmm. But when you go to churches these days, all you hear is, so for 10,000, you get 100,000. So 100,000. And so this crass materialism has also shifted into the churches. So because of these things, you will find out that people are not asking questions, basically. You go to a lot of churches today, what they talk about is how much this one sold, how a brother sold, how this one sold. So you also want to,
You also want to sow and all that. And so
because of that, you now find out that people go into things that they ought not to go into.
Okay.
Just because they want to feel among.
In that religious setting. Then let's come down to the family.
Yes.
What's the family role? Do you think the family is also the one putting pressure? Because we've now played with, we can analyze, not necessarily everybody's opinion, but we have seen that somehow the churches also play a role in causing this craze for the December end of the year, end of the month thing.
Yeah.
The family, do you think societally the family is also a part of the problem?
Like I said society is part of the problem. The church, the family are agents of socialization.
They're units in each. Yes.
Agents of society. So if the church is causing it on, the family too is also playing a role in such issues. You go to families where there is this craze to show what this family has accomplished, what it has accomplished. I read a story of how a family kept putting pressure on their daughter who was abroad. Look at what this one sent to the father. This one just built, and the lady now after some time had to go into some, stuff that, on a good day, no family wants to get because she wanted to belong to.
So the family itself is
itself is also part, because of course I said society. So every agent of socialization which is involved in societal upbringing is also a part of the problem. Family, even the schools. Even the schools.
Explain how the schools play.
The schools have a part in the moral upbringing of a child. And then most schools these days don't have such discipline in their system. And so even where the child is supposed to get that discipline from, schools are failing.
But someone might argue with you that because schools don't flog like they used to maybe in our era, like now, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's really no discipline in the school.
Well, I don't know about flogging, and I don't think I'm against flogging. I'm not sure schools.
You don't look like
I'm not sure schools have stopped flogging.
Most of them have.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I know the private schools have.
Private schools, maybe, yes. But I went to a private school and I was flogged, and it instilled some sense of discipline in me. But even at that, flogging is not only the aspect of discipline. I stay in Abuja. I've been to schools where there is this craze to show off, and maybe a child does something, and the teachers are afraid to tell the parents of the child, because the child is the son of a big shot. I've seen such a story. A teacher once told me this, that the son of a big shot was in the habit of taking people's things, but they were afraid to tell the woman because they were scared of what the woman would do to the school.
Okay,
so that's
the rule. The school, they actually aid and abet some of all this stuff.
When you go to schools, especially these private schools, you see this craze to show off. This one wants to show off. This one wants to show off. This one wants to show off. And I remember when we used to go to schools, boarding houses. The schools will say 2 sets of provisions, not more. But you don't have that going on in
you don't have the rule. Yes,
you can bring 10 sets and all that. But there was a check. These things were done to check maybe on crass showing off.
So everybody is expected to have the same number, the same amount. Beautiful. So nobody is seen to be bigger or better than anybody.
Because when a child sees that, okay, this person's parents can afford 5 sets of provision, my parents can only afford 1. You understand what I'm saying? He begins to develop a mindset that, because they are wealthy, they can have this.
So wealth becomes enviable.
Wealth becomes enviable. And from there, he could do anything to get wealth.
I was reading a report from the Anambra State Police Command, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and from the 7th of December till date, they have arrested some charged to court, some after investigations were released, but over 150 young men ranging from the ages of 18 to about 27, 28 for cultism. And they found, arms with them, machetes and small, what do we call them? Those
small arms.
Small arms, the ones, the vigilante the blacksmith ones. I know there's a name for it, but I remember.
Okamid.
Okay.
They call it Okamid.
They call it Okamid guns, right? So they found those kind of guns and things like that with them. Now the question is, all of a sudden, youths, very, very, at a very, very young age, are indulging in all these things. And I know, like you said, societal, because everything that happens in society revolves around the society itself. But why is that number so large, especially now? So from 17th, okay, let's say from 7th of December till date, it's less than 20 days in between. And they're raiding from different corners. They have all their black spots where they know these people. Yes.
Well, cultism will continue to prevail because society has failed to do what it ought to do. Again, these people who are arrested, do your investigation, how many of them are charged to court?
They said about 40.
How many of them are prosecuted eventually? Have you ever heard of somebody being sent to prison for cultism? I don't know.
Okay, so it's one thing to charge them, and then it's another thing to actually get the prosecution. There was something you said now. You said you don't think cultism will ever end. Yes. Why do you say that?
It won't end because we have people in power who are cultists.
Okay.
These people have people...
Allegedly.
Not allegedly. We have people in power. I will say this anywhere.
Okay.
We have people in power who are cultists. We have people in power who are aiding and abetting these young men.
Okay.
In power. I'm being factual with you. You can do your research very well. So when these guys are arrested and charged, after some time you see them becoming acquitted. For example, the killings in Ife, if you followed the judgment and all that, they acquitted the people who were found guilty for that 1999 killings. They were acquitted by magistrate court, or I can't remember. So if those persons who were guilty for the killings of Africa and Co, and they were acquitted, then what are you telling me? So we will continue to have such until the government and society gets its facts right on cultism. The police must be commended. Anti-cult must be commended. I commend them. But find out how many of these prosecutions end up in
how many of these
punished?
Yes. How many of them actually go?
Yes. How many of them go through this period and get punished for such? Find out.
So because there's this godfatherism, quote and unquote, in the activities of cultism, that's why we're not getting the headway with it.
Yes,
would it like the increase now, 150 in less than 20 days?
Yes.
Would we also say that sometimes these people are used for criminal activities, i.e., kidnapping, i.e., robbery, also or on their own? By the same...
That's what they do. That's what they do. In my school days, you had these cults. What they used to do was...
I know you went to Uniben, and you also went to... Uniben was a very notorious school in terms of cultism. Yes, I know at one time, Unizik too had their own high share until, of recent, it's now... It's not as bad as it used to be a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I know Uniben was like, okay, the king of kingpins. So what was the experience in school back then?
Well, I got into school and cultism wasn't as bad as it used to be before I got in there because I used to hear stories and all that.
So doesn't it show that it's getting better and it can actually end?
It's not getting better because this time it's getting out of campuses. In those days, it was just students that were cultists.
Okay.
Now you have roadside vulcanizers who are cultists. You have bus conductors who are cultists. You have young boys who are just out of school who are cultists. And these people, these minds are not matured enough.
So the initiation is no more for the elite, quote and unquote, those within the elite. By what I mean elite that were those university students, with a different kind of intellectualism.
There was a level a university student might go to because of that. But there is a level, you don't expect that level to come from an illiterate. I don't know if you are...
I understand, that's why I said so. It's now being the elite, no longer, for just school graduate, university students. It's now a all-comers affair. So you can't really separate who's really an armed robber or a cultist.
That is it.
Quote and
so that's why it's getting worse. But if you have government look into these matters, get these guys prosecuted, get them jailed, send an example to society.
Then you think things will happen?
Sure, why not?
Okay, now the police, I'm happy you've commended them. Anambra State is doing a lot.
Yeah.
And the program is security focused. We very soon will open the phone lines. And most times, especially when I have maybe a police representative here, the problems most people complain about is them stopping on the road, 10 naira here, 5 naira here. And I see it every day, even when you're coming into ABS from the junction there, you'll see them there, you know. Sometimes you can actually tell that these officers are drunk or are under the influence of something. There's under some kind of intoxicant. Of course, we know that security is a festive period. We're expecting crime rate to increase. So as such, there's to be security repercussions. So the police is out on the road alongside other armed forces. But the police is more obvious in terms of waiting day for the boys. Merry Christmas, you know. The normal slang before was Happy Weekend, but now it's Merry Christmas. So once you say Merry Christmas, shake body, something should drop. Good. Now the question I want to ask is, in as much as they are on the road trying to curb and control crime, which is their duty, they're also a source of nuisance to many road users. Keke napep drivers, the shuttle bus drivers, more than even maybe private drivers. How do you think we can, as a society, curb that?
Well, it first has to do with looking at the remuneration of the police officer. The police officer is underpaid. Whether we like it or not, forget this new pay. They just I
don't even think that has been implemented. But it has been effective. Yes, it's been announced.
I was once with a friend, and we got to the junction. A police officer stopped us. My friend's car papers were not complete. And so while we were talking, they were trying to get some money off me and my friend. And I said, "Look, how's your pay? Why are you guys doing this?" They told me how much they earned, and I felt so bad. I had to do a write-up on it sometime in November, because that the policeman deserves better.
Yeah, but everybody else is not getting paid well. The public servant will tell you he's not getting...
The policeman takes an extra duty.
He signed up for it.
Yeah, fine. And if he signed up for it,
he knew the pay.
The policeman, look, when you compare, Nigerian policemen are the worst paid in the world.
Yes, Nigerian public servants are the worst paid in the world.
So I don't know about public servants.
Lecturers are the worst paid in the world.
And public servants.
The only place that Nigerians have more pay is the legislative. The Senate.
And I think Nigerian police are worse off because they are signed off to so many challenges, you know, and all that. And I will have to ask, okay, what if something happens to you? How about your benefits? And they told me the benefits are nothing to write home about. And so you don't expect them to, let's be factual.
Okay.
So, with the challenges they go through, so you have to look at their pay. Then secondly, you have to look at the level of discipline. If we have an IG that says, look, standing on the road and harassing people will warrant you being dismissed from the office, and you begin to show examples.
Oh, they do have that. I know they actually have the IG's X squad. And then the X squad, the function of the X squad is to ensure that the policeman on the streets doesn't collect.
So why is the X squad not functional in Anambra here?
They say they are. I've actually had a guest here.
And have you ever seen anybody being caught for such?
No.
So what are we saying? Yes, because they know themselves. It's we, and me and you. Dog doesn't eat dog. You get my point. But if you have a situation where you have someone who says, look, I'm putting an end to this, and if I catch you, or if you're caught, like that policeman who was videoed sometime at the airport in Lagos, and the video went viral, he was fired. And I think that sent a message. So if we have people who are willing to, if you have the police, the police rank and file, who are willing to say, look, this is giving us a bad name, because it's actually giving the police a bad name.
It is giving them a bad name, irrespective of how much they're doing. So, for example, you said your friend's papers were wrong, were incomplete. That's a crime.
That was a crime.
He should have been, like you're saying, persecuted.
Sure.
But the easy way out is, so you can imagine armed robbers that can pass through those checkpoints because they have their handy 100 naira or 200 naira without even being stopped. Officer, how far? You pass and then you sleep.
You go.
So when we say that, okay, their pay is not enough, for me, I think it's not enough justification.
It might not be enough, but I mean, if an officer, if you are well paid, would you seek to do other things? I mean, your pay is enough for you.
I think greed is it's not a function of how much people earn.
Then discipline should come in.
That's the word. I think discipline, I agree with you where you said...
Let's pay them well first. Then when they earn, you discipline them because you have a more justification to discipline them. What I am saying is that they do these things because they are underpaid. Now, if I have seen people, when you pay them well, for example, I read El Rufai's book, The Accidental Public Servant, and he said he tried to ensure that BPE staff, Bureau for Public Enterprises, were well paid.
So that they can't be compromised by procurement.
They were able to churn out the results they churned out. That is not to say that there was not the case of greed in BPE. Some staff went wrong, but if you notice, it was very, very minimal.
Compared to other
so what I'm saying is it's a psychological thing. If you pay people well, you will get the best from them.
The last caller said that we should also be aware that it's not just the police. And I know that even in the public service, in the institutions, everybody, they may on December, everybody's waiting and hustling. Yeah. The books are going to close on the 31st of December. So let's chop as much as we can chop before.
The corruption is endemic. So you cannot now say, because all I'm saying is, if you want us to stop these guys from collecting, pay them well. Then when you pay them well and you still see others collecting, then we now know the reason, and then you can now discipline them. But you cannot give them the small amounts you give them now, expect them to take care of children, pay house rent, pay medical bills, respond to all societal...
But all of us are still on that same salary scale. Let's take another call. I'm sure. Okay, good. So it's a good thing that Nigerians have two different views. One shares a view like yours, which feels, sometimes we should overlook some of these things and then try and understand the humanity surrounding it before we ask for more. And then people like me say, you signed up for that, so you have a choice. Even though I know sometimes people become police officers, not necessarily because they enjoy the job, but because it's the only available one to go. Okay. We're still talking about Christmas. We're talking about the increase in crime rates, not just police and bribes. Yeah. Masquerades is a major part of the Igbo culture when we talk about the festive seasons, whether it's Easter, but most especially during the Christmas season. Anambra State, different communities are having their masquerade shows, and it cuts around the whole southeast. When I was much younger, I know that, of course, when the masquerades come, you run and stand, you're hiding. But I know you could go to the field and then they're performing and you enjoy the colors. But now I see masquerades walking on the streets. They have long canes, molesting innocent people. They've lost. I might be wrong, but the what's the word? Yes, the essence. Then they were revered. Oh, the masquerades are coming out. But now I feel that like a bunch of hoodlums just carrying sticks and then flogging people. Two, it causes a lot of vehicular traffic, human traffic, creating a lot of inconveniences for people that are not part of the masquerade saga. What's your recommendation for it this period?
It's that simple. The
Eyo Festival in Lagos, yes.
Because I grew up in Lagos, and the Eyo Festival used to be, for a long time, they didn't have it until I think 2001. And the government had to take so many measures. The masquerades were registered. Okay. Everyone had a number.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, they all had numbers on them.
On their regalia.
On their regalia.
So you can identify...
So you can identify, if this one molests you, you can identify it. And
masquerade for.
Yes, and they trace the person. So, very simple. Like in my hometown, Abagana, you have the Edar.
Yes, I know that's a big masquerade festival. Yes. I think that's 27th or 28th. I know that period after Christmas.
And you see people, you flog each other. I know they used to harass bystanders. I'm not very proud of it. Okay. But I think as time goes on, the community has decided to check on these things. So nobody has the right to molest people particularly when they are going on their own business.
So what can they do if they're molested? How does one find redress? They said Lagos and Ayo. This was the control measure.
First of all, you have to put up policing. You police the environment. Then you put up. You have local vigilantes. You also put them up to the task. Then the committees are set up that look into these things. They should come in with ingenious measures to ensure that nobody takes advantage of the festival or the festive period.
Yes, because I think that's the word, taking advantage of the festive period. So, either to harass or to steal
or to extort.
When you're driving, they block your car. You must drop money, and then they become violent if you don't drop something for them. So
if my community has about 7 to 8 or 10 roads going in between. If you police those roads well, at least you can scare off those people who do such.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Then at the same time, the vigilante, you bring them in, for example, I was at one festival in Nemo recently, and the local vigilante were there, policing the event. So even cars were not stolen. That used to be the Nemo, as used to be the case before. So you need to put up this ingenious.
So we need to get security agencies involved. Whether it's the community policing, which is the vigilante, they need to get involved to ensure that people's rights are not infringed, all in the names of masquerade.
And then the committee that is handling it should also ensure that if so-and-so masquerade goes against, they are barred for 2-3 years.
Okay.
When that happens,
so basically there should be sanctions.
Beautiful.
So once they can come up with sanctions,
and if possible, you get them arrested.
This has started. I mean, everybody has now turned this program to just collecting bribes from the police. We should have just made that the title of the program. Maybe. Should you give or should you not give the bribes to the police? But there was something I was going to say. We agree that the police have issues, and there are other ways of doing, all these things. Anyway, let's not get distracted by this. Let's continue with the masquerade and
we're talking about arresting
them.
And
then I was saying to you that when we were growing up, they said masquerades are not people; they are monks. So how do you arrest spirits?
We all know that masquerades are human beings.
So we can arrest them.
You can arrest them. Even if you read Chinua Achebe, you will see where they said one of the masquerades that looked like had the springly walk of Okonkwo.
So that means Okonkwo was
in
the masquerade.
But you dare not call
the masquerade.
If you read Chinua Achebe, you say where he said, and things fall apart, he said that one of the masquerades had the springly walk of Okonkwo. So
it's very easy to surmise that Okonkwo was the one.
Was one of them. And he was not at the venue of the meeting, as in human form. So you dare not ask where is Okonkwo. So we know that these masquerades are human beings.
So they can be punished.
They can be punished, sure.
They should be, actually.
Yes.
Now, talking about giving bribes, the Constitution says he that gives bribes is as guilty as the person that is receiving bribe. Isn't the problem us?
Well, I would have loved to say it is us, but
because we're encouraging.
Yes, but if you say
everybody says you're guilty with your friend. You gave and you moved.
I did not say I gave.
You gave. I know that's why. I mean, if you did, you'd have been the different story.
I did not say I gave.
But I can summarize that you did. You'd have.
I don't know.
So isn't it that it's our mindset as human beings? And unfortunately, we're like a couple of our callers have said, you can actually be a criminal, but because you can give that 5-10 naira, you pass. If we as citizens say we can't, we won't, it also comes to the same thing. Like, I'm trying to wrap up the whole program, not just the police, and then we say to the society, the churches are encouraging, get quick reach. If we as people come and say, no, I'm not coming to your house for your opening because I know your money is not...
You're not clean.
Yes, you're having a party, Yahoo boys, we're going to the club, we're popping champagne. And I say, no, I'm not going to drink that champagne because I know that
I'm not going to celebrate you.
Yes, I'm not going to celebrate that for what. Yes. I know I'm not going to celebrate you. I think we need to take back
our society.
Instead of allowing the society to take over from us, I want to end with it and say we need to take back and say each and every one of us has the responsibility to say, you know what, I know this person is fraudulent. And then when we as individuals start to shun, when the church starts to shun, when the priest says, I'm not opening your house, or a pastor, because he knows, and I think gradually we can evolve back to the core foundations of what society is meant to be. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, so I'm going to thank you very, very much. Thank you so much. And just know that I'll call you again. It was fun talking with you. Well, the program has been Security Focus, and we have to go now. Join us same time next week. But once more, have a Merry Christmas. Please stay safe, stay out of trouble, and don't be a problem too. Have a lovely day.